Great morning, you all. How are you all doing? This is your girl, Shan. I hope you all had an amazing weekend, relaxing. Maybe you got to get out, spend time with your family, a date night with your honey. Either way it go. I hope you all had an amazing weekend. Thank you so much for getting up, supporting your girl as you always do. Good morning to everybody that's coming in. You know, I'll be trying to get it because I get sidetracked. But anywho, good morning to everyone that is coming in. Waking up with your girl, marriage mornings with the queen. Now, you know, I always got to do my good old church announcement. Let you know about our radio show tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. That is Marriage Mondays with the Kings on KRGN 98.5 FM The Rock. Now, if you are, because I noticed that a lot of people are sharing the videos that I do. Thank y'all so much sharing what me and my husband do. If you ever have any questions, how do I listen to the radio show? That is the number one question that we get in our inbox. Go to our website, Marriage Mondays with the Kings, okay? MarriageMondaysWithTheKings.com. Click on the Listen Here tab, and there are various platforms so you can join us. If you are local in the Central Texas area, you can join us by listening to KRGN 98.5 FM. Now, tonight, this is what we're going to be talking about. Who am I in my marriage? Who am I in my marriage? Question of the week. Why do you think that people feel like they lose themselves in their marriage? You already know it's going down because we're just trying to keep it real. That, you know, that happens. Let's just be honest. If me and Mr. King gonna be talking about marriage, we're gonna be talking about all things marriage. And so tonight we will be talking about losing yourself in your marriage. And why do you think that is? Now, your girl about to talk about this topic on this morning, and it had to do with communication, because one of the things that I've been hearing and seeing and reading over and over and over again is the barriers and the issues that individuals have to do with communication, or the lack thereof, or how you communicate. So this is what I'm going to be talking about. Stop talking at people and learn how to talk to them. And in parentheses, that's spouse, that's children, etc. See, what I've found is that a lot of us will communicate with those around us the way that we were taught to do it. Now, I'm not trying to blame anybody because, you know, you could have picked it up from anywhere. But people know how to talk at people, but not have a balanced communication with them. Not communicating with them to get an understanding. Most people communicate with others so that way it's all about you. And I give a good example. I've been on the phone and had a conversation, you know, with individuals, person, friend, or whatever. You can learn a lot about people just if you sit back, listen to the way that they communicate. And I'm not saying this in a judging way, but God did give us 2 ears and 1 mouth. And so what is always said with that? When you have 2 ears, that means you need to learn to listen is twice as much as you speak. So with that being said, we learn how to talk at people because we're too busy trying to get our point across. But we do not sit down and have meaningful conversations anymore. Because think about it back in the day. Because I think about things like all the time. When I was growing up as a child, you remember when kids couldn't be around grown folks. So in grown folks' conversation, they had to get outside somewhere and play. Some of y'all grew up like that. But when you listen to the older people, and that's what I used to do, I used to try to make sure that I couldn't be seen, you know, that they would forget that I was over there in the corner, but I would listen and learn so much. But when you listen to older people, think about how they communicated back then versus how we communicate now. Now you got people that get on social media, baby, they get to cussing, fussing, arguing over any little stupid thing with people. Y'all know your girl, she ain't gonna keep it real. But I want, as I'm speaking about this morning, I want you to think about, how do you communicate? Do you communicate with someone honestly so you can have a meaningful conversation? Or do you communicate with them because you always trying to get your point across and it's always about me, 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 me? I remember being on the phone with somebody, and, you know, it's somebody that I hold dear true. Before the hour and 15 minutes, it's a few people I know like this. The hour and 15 minutes that I was on the phone with them, I would say 98% of the time, all they talked about was themselves. What they doing, what's going on with them, what's going on with their children, what's going on with their job, what's going on with them in the church. It was them. It wasn't a balance of, hey, you know, how you doing today? That's about as far as it go. Well, how y'all been doing? Okay, well, how y'all been doing? And then the whole rest of it, like, I already make up in my mind and know when I speak to certain individuals, they gonna talk about themselves for a whole hour and a half. Don't ask nothing about you unless it's right at the beginning or they got 2 minutes left in the end. So that's the type of person that is all about them. I will actually speak to you as a single, especially if you are working on yourself as a single individual. You desire to be married. You know, I'm hearing and seeing that a lot of people are going to therapy. I am elated by that. I am so happy to hear that people are reaching out to their pastors to get counseling, different things that you are identifying in yourself, going all the way back to brokenness. When me and my husband was talking about being broken and how you've learned you can't love other people because you are broken. So with that being said, you're reaching out, you're getting help, you're going to counseling, you're spending time, by yourself, you are reading the word, you're praying, you're meditating, you're doing all those things so you can work on a better you. But when you sit back and have a conversation with an individual, you can learn more about them than what is saying out their mouth, okay? You can learn, and this is why I said to the singles, you can learn if they're self-centered. You can learn if they're prideful. You can learn if it's all about them and everything. I don't care if it's from the preacher in the pulpit all the way down to the homeless person on the street. People do not learn how to communicate to get and gain understanding anymore. It's all about them, right? And that actually, it irritates me because I used to speak at people. When it came to my husband, me and him get into it, baby, I speak at him all day. I never communicated with him back in the day to get an understanding because that's all I knew. You know what I'm saying? And if you coming at me and I know I'm trying my best, then guess what? I'm coming back at you. I probably done cussed you out. Let's just be real on this morning. So with that being said, it's not any of my proudest moments, but I want us, as we're listening to this, how do you communicate with your spouse? Do you communicate to seek understanding so that way you can get to learn your husband or your wife on a deeper level? Or do you communicate because you always got to be right? You always got to get a point across. You always got to try to put your spouse down. And see, I've spoke about that some time before. When individuals come at you and they always trying to put you down with the words that come out of their mouth, even though the word of God says that life and death is in the power of the tongue and they that love it should eat the fruit thereof. They're coming at you and they talking about you and they putting you down. But this is why I say I don't even take offense to it anymore, because what I've learned is it's not me, it's them. Because when a person speaks, now listen what I'm talking about with communicating and speaking. When a person speaks from a place of healing, that they have done the work, and it's funny because me and a family member speak about this all the time. When they have put in the work and done the work to become a better them, a person who has put in the work to become a better them, and they speak totally different from somebody that's still broken. Okay? I'm going to let that marinate and sizzle in your spirit for a minute. So I'm not saying this to judge. I'm just saying be mindful of how you communicate with people. Be mindful your energy that you give to people, going back and forth with them, arguing. Why am I even going to stoop to your level? Because when you are trying to, and I'm not trying to say I'm better than anybody else because I'm still learning about me. But when you are having a conversation with somebody that's broken, especially when they're coming at you with aggressive anger, it's something within themselves that they are projecting. Remember, I was talking about projecting a few weeks ago. It's something within themselves that they're projecting onto you. What you have to do is not allow yourself, not give that energy of yourself to go back arguing back and forth with them. Because it's only to say, I ain't going back and forth with you. I'm living my best life. And I know some of y'all like, well, this is supposed to be inspirational and you doing R&B. Cut that out. We're not going to do that this morning. We're not doing that this week. We ain't doing that in 2021. I love music, so I use things to relate as it is placed on my heart so people can understand. That's a form of communication, okay? So as you are learning about yourself, as you're spending time with God, as you are learning what your God mission is. It took me years to learn, for example, what my God mission is. One of the pieces of my God mission, as you all can very well see, has to do with communication. How am I communicating with people? When they leave my presence, how are they leaving my presence based off of the words that come out of my mouth? You see what I'm saying? So examining yourself. How do you communicate with your husband? How do you communicate with your wife? How do you communicate with your children? Now, let me talk about this because this is really what the crust of all this is about. We as parents got to do better, okay? I was sitting up thinking, examining myself before I even came on. I was sitting up thinking about our oldest son, the king's oldest son. We could talk about anything, but coming up with the mindset when my children, the older children were younger, coming up with the mindset that I had, I spoke at my children instead of sitting down having a conversation with my children. Now, see, the difference with that is when you sit down and you have a conversation with someone to seek and gain understanding, you hear their heart. Once they feel like they can open up to you and share their truths with you, you hear their heart. And a lot of individuals are not doing that. We are too busy talking to each other because we want to be right. And so when it came to my children, like, I ain't gonna lie, I had to go back and apologize as a parent. And some of y'all parents need to, I ain't gonna apologize to them for nothing. No, go back, put your pride aside, and have a heartfelt apology that you offer to your children. Because there are things that we as parents are afflicting on our children. And in our minds, we're saying, well, I'm getting up, I'm providing for them, I'm going to work, and I'm doing that. Some of y'all even buying your children. They ask you for a $300 pair of Jordans or some retro $500, whatever the case may be. And guess what you're doing? You out there buying it. That's not love. That's not love. Love is actually going a deeper level with your children. That's what I had to learn. So getting up in the morning, if you were to ever, some individuals who, watch the Kings and stuff, they are people, they are family. They come and they say you come and you visit, especially before this virus, and stay at the King's household. When you have a conversation with our children, and this is what I've learned along the way too, your children are very reflective of you. And so people say, I love being around your children because they really reflect, Shan, you, and Kenya. With that being said, when you get up in the morning, they'll say, good morning. How are you? How did you sleep last night? And they pause to hear the response. We don't pause to hear responses. We on our job cussing people out. You have a bad day at work. Guess who you take it out on? Your children. You wonder why they don't ever want to open up and talk to me when they become a teenager because of what you sowed in them and what you've shown them when they was younger than that. Because remember, it's our responsibility, according to the word of God, to train up a child in the way that they should go. So even if there are things that you learned from your childhood or while you was growing up as a young adult and don't know how to communicate effectively or whatever the case may be, you can go back and change the narrative. People don't realize that you can go back and you can change the narrative. So you wonder why your kids don't like having a heart-to-heart with you, because you never made time for your kids. You never gave them a safe place for them to be able to sit down and talk to you and have shared their heart with you. This is another thing. I understand as adults, we have been going through a lot with this whole pandemic and things of that nature. Got it. Losing jobs. You wonder how, I'm going to keep a roof over my child's head. How we going to eat? How we going to keep, our bills paid? We had that freak storm here in Texas, Stormageddon. I don't know what the heck was up with that even to this day. But yet and still, who's checking in on the child? And when I say checking in, I mean, stop what you're doing. Get out of your electronic device. Take off your Superman cape or Superwoman cape from where you're trying to save the world. Sit down with your child. Ask them a question. Create a safe space for them to be able to have that conversation with you and check into their world. I do that from time to time. More so, I ain't gonna say I used to do that a lot from time to time. Now I do it all the time with my children. I'm coming home from work. Oh, hey, how was your day? Before I even put down all my stuff and take a shower and change out my clothes, I sit down. Hey, come here. Let's talk. How was your day? So how was it at school? Because my kids are not at actual school. They are actually online. How was it? Do you have homework? What do I need to help you with? Mom about to go and take a shower or, start dinner. After that, we're going to dig into your homework. You got to study. What is it? What are your goals? I check in, and people say that all the time. My God, y'all's children are just like y'all, because we, in a sense, created our children to be goal-oriented because we want them to know via communication that we have with them that you can do whatever it is that God has created for you to do. Don't ever let anybody lessen you. And so it's okay to, do all the extra stuff. But let's get on some below the surface level. Let's learn how to have some real conversation. There are individuals I don't have conversation with often because they're not capable of having a conversation and they're not willing to learn, conduct a productive conversation. So what I'm going to ask is that watch how you speak to people. Watch the words that come out of your mouth. I've even learned, even so much, we was at a meeting at work last Friday, for example. And my spirit get easily irritated around ignorant people. That's how I'm going to say it. People that are older than me, mumbling under their breath like little kids, When the supervisor's asking, does anybody got anything that they want to say? And they mumbling and making smart remarks. And these people are older than me. And it get to the point where I'm like, wow, you don't know how to communicate because you still broken, you still hurt, you refuse to get help, you think you know everything. How many of y'all know people that's like this? Think that you know everything, and then you get mad because you say you're lonely and you don't have nobody. Oh, I don't have no friends. Everybody turn their back on me, but you're not willing to get better. You're not willing to have the real conversation with people to get better. You're not willing to learn how to mature and grow past where you are now. There are so many, and I say this all the time, there are so many adult children that are still walking around hurt because of the little child that's in you, because you don't know how to effectively communicate with individuals and let them know what it is that you need. That's why a lot of marriages don't make it. That is exactly why. And as soon as your spouse try to have a conversation with you to where to be meaningful and productive, you get mad at them because you yourself don't know how to communicate your words. And so you regress back to that broken little child. And then you come out fighting, fussing, cussing, acting a fool, gotcha. You know, this is all gritted up, tight, and different things like that. But then you say, don't nobody understand me. What I'm going to encourage, I don't care what age you are. I don't care if you're 99 or if you're 18 years old. Get to know who you are on a deeper level. I've been saying that for the past year and a half. Learn how to have a mature, grown-up conversation with individuals that are around you to be able to communicate what it is that you effectively need. Okay? Learn how to have a grown-up conversation. I also encourage you all, examine those around you and how they communicate with others. Prime example, I'm going to give some different examples and I'm out. When you got grown folks that all they do is set up and talk about somebody else, they messy. The reason why you set up and talk about somebody else and you down people like that is because you messy and it's brokenness within yourself that you need to fix. Bottom line up front, if ain't nobody going to tell you the truth, your girl, she ain't going to tell you. When you have individuals that all they do is dominate the conversation and all they talk about is themselves and they don't know how to have a two-way conversation, that is also a sign of brokenness. It's something within themselves where they feel like, or something that has happened in their past, where they feel like they always have to be the one that outshines everybody else. That's not a productive conversation back and forth. When you have individuals who every time they talk, you can feel and sense the aggression. I know for me, having the spirit of discernment, I can't be around people that's aggressive all the time. And I'm going to be honest with you and tell you why. Because God forbid they pop off on me. I don't want to forget that I'm a child of the Most High God. You see what I'm saying? So what I do is I distance myself and I have limited conversation. Because a lot of people think, let's just be real on this morning, a lot of people think because you call yourself a child of the Most High God and the Bible say that you're supposed to turn the other cheek, that you're supposed to let anybody treat you like anything. And that is not the case. The devil is a lie, because we are children of the Most High God. What you will not do, I'm going to teach you how to treat me. Okay. And that's what happens when you have an individual who has done the work. They work on themselves. They're learning what they like, what they don't like. They stop allowing people to project onto them. They start creating healthy boundaries to protect themselves. And they set up those boundaries and those barriers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold up my end of the bargain. But then also, you just not going to treat me any old type of way. That's a person who speaks from a healthy place. A person who does not, especially one who is still operating as an adult child, no matter what their age is, what they do is go and huddle with other people. And they click up with other people that's just as miserable as they are. And then they try to come and attack the person who has worked on themselves, who has put in the work, who is speaking and carrying themselves from a healthy place. If you do not, and me and my husband has been saying this a lot in 2021, know how to get to a healthy place in your life, I encourage you to seek God. If you do not know how to communicate, pray to God and ask God to show you you. But when he show you you, be prepared to take what it is that he show you. If You want so bad to be able to operate from a place of healing, because I'm here to tell you right now, baby, it feels good. I no longer have to carry around that burden of that weight of trying to be perfect, perfection, be everything that everybody want me to be. I'm able to now use my words as a healthy adult to communicate as an adult, to get my point across without cussing people out and acting a fool like I used to. I no longer have to be angry and aggressive towards anybody. That's what healing looks like, okay? But if you fall in any of those other categories, you people pleasing, you trying to be everything that everybody else wants you to be. You feel like you always in a struggle. I'm always in a struggle. When the word of God says, cast your cares upon him, for he cares for you. That's how I talk to God. God, listen, I'm not about to deal with this foolishness. Your words say. That's how the old folks taught me how to pray. Your words say, remind God of what his words say. Cast my cares upon you because you care for me. So God, I'm casting this on you and I'm going to bed. I ain't even thinking nothing else about it. You see what I'm saying? That's where faith comes in. So the whole crux of this morning is learn how to talk to people and not talk at them. The old folks used to say you can, what is it? You can catch bees with honey. Not mean that you gotta, be on, and just be sweet. So that, no. But you can learn how to effectively communicate with your husband, your wife, your coworkers, your children, to where it builds that loving foundation and that loving relationship. Me and Mr. King's children can come and talk to us about anything. The King's kids, they can come and talk to us about anything. Can you say the same, parent, about your child? Can you say, oh yeah, they can come and talk to me. They know that I'm here. This is what parents say. They know that I'm here if they ever want to talk about anything. No, that's not, let's go a little deeper. Have you created a healthy environment for them to be able to come and share their heart with you? Same thing when it comes to your husband and your wife. Do you get mad about everything that everybody else around you do to you, but the person that, instead of you going off, and I ain't encourage nobody to cuss nobody out, but let's just be real. Instead of you going off on the person who been projecting they mess on you, you biting your tongue around them, but you come back and you cuss out your spouse, and your spouse ain't did nothing to you, and you make your spouse the problem. Your spouse ain't the problem, you the problem. Learn how to effectively communicate and say, because I'm quick with people. Let's have a meeting. Come on, let's talk. Even at work. Oh, I'm emailing. I need to have a meeting with you by COB today. That's what's in the military. Close the business. By COB today. What does your calendar look like? Oh, you can't meet with me today. You can meet with me tomorrow. Okay. And then when I get up in there, with all due respect, come out. We are both grown adults. Y'all have hired me to do a job. This is not what we're not going to do. I did not take this job for you to be talking to me like I'm a little child. That's why a lot of people don't need to be in supervisory positions or any type of leadership position, because you're talking to your staff as broken adults instead of a mature adult who can effectively communicate, which is a position I never in my life want again. And I pray that God never called me to supervise adult children ever again. I pray those days is over. So with that being said, learn how to communicate with people. You can catch more bees with honey. Meaning, for those of you listening around the world, your words, they carry weight. What are you saying? If you coming at people funky, they're going to come back at you funky. Don't get mad at people because they coming back at you crazy, because that's how you presenting yourself. You call yourself adult, start walking it out like an adult. Join us tonight, Marriage Mondays with the King, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on KRGN 98.5 FM The Rock, where we are going to be talking about when I feel, who am I in my marriage? Me and Mr. King going to be talking about that. And why, question of the week, why do individuals feel lost in their marriage? We put it out there. Some people responded. We're going to be talking about that. So y'all have a blessed week. Don't let anybody steal your joy. Be a blessing to somebody this week, not a curse. Sure it is, because it's free, because we need some adult children to drop off the child part and learn how to be a healthy, whole, living adult. I don't care how old you are. And your girl Shan will be back with you with whatever it is that God placed in my heart. So God bless you and blessings to you.